Toronto fan, I presume from Canada. Said, I'll always be grateful to Paul Rowley. Took a risk joining us. New sporting concept, did great for us, and he'll always be known as the world's first transatlantic sporting coach. So praise there.
And I think that's right. But in every organisation, there comes a point when you need change. I think there's a magazine out this week that the director of rugby from Toronto writes a column in, and he's just saying that however you looked at last season, they didn't achieve what they wanted to achieve, so there had to be change.
Andy says, can you move that 4020 mag with Tompkins' face on it? It's getting on my nerves. How can you say that when Scully sat there? Come on. Paul says, 7 Thursday games, killing the games for kids to attend. That is a very valid point.
But again, the problem with that is we do need Sky's money.
But the NFL need the money from wherever they get it from. But they don't have the same teams on every week.
Championship football, what do they make Carlisle fans go to?
But that is a choice, because they say, and you're on about Ipswich go to Leeds on a Tuesday. Is there's a feeling in the game that there's only so many Ipswich fans are ever going to go to Leeds, whether it's a Saturday or a Tuesday, and the chances are the majority of them will go regardless. So you're not impacting the crowd. Whereas if you made it Huddersfield Leeds on a Tuesday, more people might not go. That's why they do that. But
we've got a few Saturday games at the start of the season.
Yeah, all right. I mean,
but the trouble is when you sign to a principal broadcaster, your right of when you play is taken away from you.
It is. And that's I'll say what I said again about the NFL. It's a 17-week season during the regular season. There are 17 Thursday games and there are 17 Monday games, and I bet the same team won't be on there more than 3 times.
But the difference with the NFL is there is no real concept of away support because of distance. There's very few. They can sell out their ground to home fans only. So the television is to enable away fans to see the game, whether that's a Thursday or Friday.
No.
But there aren't many away fans
I disagree.
in the NFL.
No, you'd be surprised, mate. You'd be surprised.
But it's not the same. It's not the same as the culture over here.
I'm not saying it is, but I think you need to go down the route of saying, right, you've got these, you can have Castleford 4 times, you've got St Helens 4 times, and you need to be a bit smarter when you pick the fixtures out. We don't know how the season's going to pan out. There's a game tonight on Monday Night Football against 2 of the worst teams in the league, and people are going, oh, what a rubbish game. But they also admit, well, we didn't know that when we picked the fixtures. People get injured, these things happen, that's life. Everyone will still tune in and watch it.
I still think that the issue with Thursday nights is who plays who, and that anybody that thinks that Hull and Widnes playing each other on a Thursday night is a good idea. Last year, obviously not this year, because Widnes been, but Hull and St Helens it's nonsense. We need to, if you're going to have derby fixtures, if that kind of rivalry is what supports the sport, then every Thursday night fixture has to involve as little travel as possible for fans.
Neil says something important here, and it is I think it's a uniquely rugby league thing about the supporters of the sport who will find any reason to moan about things. I'm not going to go watch the test match because it's in Anfield and I'm an Everton fan, or I hate Leeds United, or I don't like Hull. As Neil says, 24,000 people go to watch Yorkshire and Lancashire in the T20 on a Friday night. If people want to, it can be done. It can be done. Great phrase.
My issue is with the attitude to the Challenge Cup at the moment. That we're asking teams to underwrite it in case they get there, because the attendance will be lower. When what we should be doing is making it the event that everybody wants to go to, irrespective of who the teams are that go in there.
Isn't that the problem with the test series we just had?
Hold on, have you broken the computer?
Yeah, just unplugged it.
The phone, the computer.
The light flickers.
What the hell are you doing today?
The big issue with...
It's ever since you
the
bought
big
the
issue,
sofa.
selling the big issue.
We might be soon.
Yes.
Times are getting out.
The grand final, Challenge Cup final, test series, and everyone wants tickets for nothing. And that is the fault of the clubs who price their... And I'm not talking about the Championship or League One clubs who need to get people through the gate. People who run Super League clubs who give away tickets to the regular season games for a pittance, then people don't turn up for the playoffs because they are used to not paying to watch a high quality product. So the clubs are built, and Huddersfield's the obvious example, because how much were their season tickets the other year?
Well, would that be the same Huddersfield that lost £1.5 million?
So 100 quid or whatever for a season ticket. I can't remember. 99 quid, there you go. So why the next year? And Wakefield had the same problem as well, giving away tickets, and look what happened to them under a useless regime who were never allowed to criticise.
You get stuck in, mate.
This is the great thing about rugby league. You're not allowed to criticise what's happened in the past, because this is the whole negativity thing. Right? We can't be negative.
I don't think we're any more negative as a sport than any other sport.
This is what annoys me, because
listen to 606 on whenever it's on every night, and all it is football fans ringing in and moaning.
If you don't learn from what people have done in the past, you can't move forward, because you'll repeat those same mistakes. We've undervalued our sport.
And I also think that asking questions of governing bodies as to why fixtures are planned in a certain way, or how you would do things, you might do things more productively, is healthy. It's not negative. We've seen today our good friends at Coventry Bears.
Very good video.
Have released a video enticing people why they should buy a season ticket. That video cost nothing. It was all done by volunteers at the club. It was done by the creative energy of people that are around the club. If they can do that for nothing, and it looks really effective, and if you live in Coventry, you might be persuaded to go and watch these people that can run long distances and have funny hair, then we're not serving the game. But we'll go back to Sunday, and alright, the performance on the field, not great from England. Some real stuff to admire from New Zealand that shouldn't go amiss. But the first 15 minutes played the sport in such a wonderful light for the tribute that it paid. There are some people who have come into the RFL recently that saw the value of all of that and worked very hard to put that on. There were people at the BBC who wanted to properly commemorate something, because they had a test event on the most poignant day of the year, and the reading out of the names of the players who fell in the First World War by the current players was magnificent. It was on the screen at the ground. The names were highlighted around the middle tier. The fact that you could get two international teams before they go out and belt each other, to put their arms around each other, linked in, to show solidarity of 100 years before, that reflects so well on our sport. Those are the things that, if we could do more stuff like that, all of that costs very little. In fact, it probably costs nothing. Well, that's what we've got to be better at.
This was my issue with not being able to speak to Tommy Makinson more than anything else, is, and I keep saying this and I don't know how to get this through to people. People watching this programme tonight are rugby league supporters.
Yeah.
They're not just landing on YouTube or Facebook when it works and watching this programme because there's four people who are vaguely amusing talking about something. They're not going to do that. Well, later on, after 8 o'clock.
People are loving Richard Grant.
Yeah,
we're getting demands. He's going to be coming in next.
When
contracts are up, he's going to be saying, "Hang on, my weekly run."
Steve says Paul Rowley should take my job.
You know
that's plugging the computer.
Oh, right, fair enough.
You know the two Ronnies. He's going to get a slot in his chair as Ronnie Corbett.
Ronnie the Rhino. Get him on. He speaks more sense. I love that thing.
Well, you said
I love that thing Ronnie the Rhino did about bullying today. I thought that was really good. Retweet that myself. Love Ronnie, he's great. Best thing about the Rhinos. The only good thing about the Rhinos.
What about the PDRL team?
Oh, the PDRL team.
Yeah. Beat Wakefield. Yeah.
We've got rid of some bad apples in our team now. We'll be better next year. So the only people who watch this programme are rugby league people. The only people who watch the Super League show are rugby league people. The only people who watch other rugby league programmes are rugby league people. Tommy Makinson, if we'd have been able to speak to him and get that interview on national radio, people might have thought, who's this Tommy Makinson? You know, like Brad Fittler, he might have been tuning into Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast and going, who's this Tommy Makinson? What's the golden boot? When do I get to, he's the best player, when do I get to see him play? But I didn't get that opportunity. And we, as a sport, kick ourselves in the back foot because he had to go training. So 2 minutes with me, no good. No. Nonsense. The people in charge of our sport need to realise how we can get publicity. It's all right having your own TV stations and your own Twitter. The only people who follow the England Rugby League Twitter are rugby league supporters. The only people who follow the RFL are rugby league supporters. We're preaching to the same crowd all the time. Yeah. And we want people to come watch these internationals, and it's all right people going on Twitter and saying, as Phil mentioned earlier, hashtag positive rugby league, and I understand what you're just trying to do. You're talking to the converted. We already know, we already turned up. I bought those tickets months ago for the internationals. So, what's the point? No one's watching these programmes who isn't interested in rugby league. We need to get more people interested.
Which
in
is
rugby
exactly
league.
what John Dutton said on Friday about the 2021 World
Yeah.
Cup. It is avowedly going after the non-rugby league audience.
And that might annoy people who are rugby league supporters. Tough, because you're going to go. And if you don't go, you'd be on forums moaning. I've seen people moaning already about the 1895 Cup, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in a moment, because let's face it, it's something Phil's been banging on about for ages.
What about the Yorkshire Cup? Or the predominantly
The
West,
West
Yorkshire
Yorkshire,
Cup,
the
as
North
it's now
Yorkshire
known.
Has that been announced, has it now?
Well, I think it has, because some clubs have put fixtures out, even though it hasn't been announced.
The Yorkshire Cup's been brought back, and Wakefield are not in it to defend
Well,
their crown.
It's
no,
not
it's
quite the
disgraceful.
Yorkshire Cup, is it?
Ah, right.
Because it doesn't
okay.
include the south of the county.
Right,
Doesn't include the east of the county.
right, okay.
It only includes a very small bit of the north of the county.
Right, okay.
And it doesn't include any Super League.
Is there something in common with these clubs that are in that?
I think they like each other.
In that cup. Is it that they like each other, or someone else likes them?
Well, they may have done a service.
Yeah. So
Maybe-
really, it's
maybe
a bit of
payback.
a funny handshake cup, isn't it? This. You
It's
look
about to
after
throw
us.
it in the Masons
You look
yard.
after us, and we'll
But
look
the,
after
the
you.
other thing is, when talking about there's too many games, we've now got more games.
Glenn wants us to go on Twitch. I can't even work YouTube, Glenn.
What the hell is
That's another thing. Steve says, does anyone watch football programs that don't follow football? I imagine not. If you know the rugby
Yes.
union's on the weekend, I
Yes.
don't watch the rugby union.
I think football has a universal draw. I think if you're sat in a car on a journey and there's a football commentary on, you're more likely to listen to it. So I think for some, because it's the national sport, there is an allegiance to
well,
football. You don't have to be a fanatic to get drawn into.
Say the Speedway, and I saw an interesting tweet earlier about Speedway, and they seem to be in all kinds of bother. But if you weren't interested in Speedway,
Started on
Oh, I know
speedway
again.
now.
well,
Jesus.
basketball,
Table
ice hockey,
tennis.
Does he want any
netball,
cheese?
squash, table tennis, whatever, you ain't going to watch those programmes, are you?
Well,
You're
is this
interested
not
in
why
sport.
though we need the Super League show to be on nationally at a time when people might go?
No, look,
Did
oh,
you see
oh,
that?
personal
That's what we want.
Well, I think what we want is a way of showcasing somebody like Tommy Makinson. Now
You
you
don't say
don't
personality.
you don't want to do it at
Can't do that.
12:30 in the morning. But
And then again, here's another reason why we've kicked ourselves in the foot. If we'd have announced on Wednesday the International Player of the Year is Tommy Makinson, then everyone would go, yeah. But we've given him an award, and this is not his fault, which has been won in the past by the best player in the world.
one
Him
of whom
there.
is sitting in the room.
The
We
best-
have got one golden
Yeah.
boot between us on this show.
And a golden golf ball.
I can't help but feel if one of us had have actually put a bit more effort in and got on with people, we might have even got
Hey,
a golden cap.
well,
we
no,
might,
no,
we
no,
might have
no.
had a
Oh
pair,
no, don't bring down.
a pair of golden
Yeah.
boots.
I've been
Yeah.
on to the RLIF, right?
Oh, you've been on, have you?
Yeah. Scully's golden caps in the post. It's off eBay, don't panic. He's coming from China, it might be here next week. But it's not Tommy Makinson's fault that he's won an award which Can you imagine if in any other sport you gave an award out, you said, well, this used to be given for, say in cricket, this award used to be given to the best bowler, but now we've given it to the best wicket keeper.
Yeah.
It's not, it's again, we've done this to ourselves. We are our own worst enemy.
I get it, but I don't think we explained it well enough. But when the International Federation bought the Golden Boot, which they paid money for it, it's now their property. It's their right to rebrand that for it to be what they need it to be. They are only in charge of the internationals that go on. So, you know, there is the Dally M to crown the best domestic player in Australia. There is the Man of Steel to crown the best domestic player. What they're saying is above that will be the Golden Boot, which is only for internationals. But I'm not sure they said that. They just said, we bought the Golden Boot, here are the other people that won it. And you go, yeah, but they won it because of all the things they did. You're now saying you're going to have to play 3 games and you can win it. What it says, going right back to the debate we've had at the very beginning of this programme, is for the Golden Boot to have meaning, we need to play more internationals.
Well, the way it is at the moment, and Aussie will never win it again, will they?
well,
That's
done
good,
for,
eh?
well done for playing in 3
Well,
games.
That's
Well, what
good.
did you make of it, Ledge? I mean, you are the person here that's won it. I mean, you know, what does it devalue what you won, or do you look at it now as just a different thing?
No, well, as I say, it's not Tommy Makinson's fault. As Phil just rightly explained, the RLF bought off League Express, Martin Sadler, who was from there, but as it was, he was the best player in the world over a 12-month period. So I would imagine you heard the comments from Fittler, from Greg Alexander. He never won it, by the way, but from Fittler and I would imagine. Well, certainly I feel it's degrading it because, as Phil mentioned, it's not being explained properly. And I agree with what Justin Holbrook has said in League Express. It's not Tommy Makers' fault. It hasn't been explained rightly what it's all about. And he said it should change it to the International Player of the Year. It's as simple as that. Not as the best player in the world, but the International Player of the Year.
But then everybody needs to play the same amount of tests so you can compare players. Nations, I mean, I know you're not comparing like with like in terms of standard, but one of the nations who've played more than any other is Spain, who are still on the merry-go-round for qualification. But they've had a brilliant year. They could still get to the World
Phil, don't be telling somebody from Spain should be International Player of the Year.
No, but they should be in the nomination. They should be in the nomination.
Can you name a Spanish player then?
Rodriguez.
He's just made that. He's made that up.
You can't
He's made that up. He's made that up.
My next door neighbour's called Rodriguez, but he's not from Spain.
You can't
Miguel Rodriguez.
Delgado.
Somebody from Spain.
He scored a try in Serbia. Tony Delgado did score the try.
Somebody from Spain.
No, what I'm saying is, if you're serious about
Well, I think he should win is a bottle of Factor 6.
the International Player of the Year, he should be nominated. He may not win it.
Load of rubbish.
That's a fair point.
He should be
Load of
nominated.
rubbish.
Why not?
Rubbish. Well, who the hell did they play?
Greece.
Russia.
But the fact is,
one game
at
all year.
international level, they have played a number. The
Well,
Netherlands
James
have
Tedesco.
won 4 games for the first time ever in a year. They must have a player who deserves a nomination.
Who's that?
Because he's the Netherlands. Because he's played more games than James Tedesco
Why
at
were
international level.
There were 4. Was it 4 men on the men's shortlist?
Yes.
5 women. Why were there more women on the shortlist? Why? It's the first time the women's Golden Boot's been awarded.
Yeah,
They must have known before the event who won it,
they did.
right?
So fly
Because they
away.
made the video. Well, this was brilliant, wasn't it? We got the first ever women's Golden Boot via satellite from Australia. How many? Was it just one Golden Cat winner there? And that was Adrian Morley. The rest were all represented by either Todd Greenberg or
Man from New Zealand.
in fairness, Jim Sullivan had an excuse not to be there, so that was fine. But Ruben Wiki wasn't there. No one else was there.
Cameron Smith
Petra
wasn't there.
Simmons wasn't there.
Lockie wasn't there. Should have
So,
But
so
they
they've
could
got
have
this
been.
new thing.
I mean, they could have been.
Here's another great new concept we've come up with. I'm trying to get an invite for next year, obviously, here. We've come up with a great new concept. The only person there to accept it is Adrian Morley.
Did you know that this year's Golden Boot was originally drawn?
What?
Dalin Watin-Zelezniak and Tommy Makinson were level after the original vote.
Don't be saying this
Who
now.
vo- who
And
votes
they
on
went.
this?
They had
No,
to
who
go
votes?
back to the
Who
panel.
votes?
Don't, hold on. Don't, they had a game of paper, scissors, rock.
Who's on the panel?
They
Who's
did.
on the panel?
Come on, that'd round it up.
It's
That'd
actually
round
what's
it
going
up.
on.
I used to be on. I used to be on the panel. On the panel before when it was.
That's
with
what
Mike
else you've
Sadler.
been sacked.
It would again. On the panel, it was me.
They said you
Me-
didn't vote
me-
Malvern
Me, Wally Lewis, Brett Kenny, Hugh McGann, Martin, and I think the late great Malcolm Andrews. I used
All the
to.
people that aren't in your
I
family.
used to get the vote for the Golden Boot.
So who did they go to then for the? Who
Well,
was
they
on the
went
panel?
back. They went back to. I don't know, but Makinson won it 4-1 when they went back and said you've got to choose
So it was
one.
a draw before, and then it ended up 4-1.
Is it like the X Factor?
Well, this is
Why
the-
did it go to deadlock?
I mean, it is the power of recency,
Yeah.
isn't it? He scored the hat-trick on the weekend. And again, we're not saying anything negative about Tommy
I
Makinson.
honestly think that if you look at purely internationals played this year, he has as good a case as anybody
Yeah,
to
of
be
course,
named
of course.
the International Player of the Year. If that is now awarded the Golden Boot, nothing to do with him.
I can have a golden rugby ball.
There was a year when they had a dinner, an International Player of the Year type dinner, where every nation sent something in about their Player of the Year, and it felt like a much bigger event. I think we should do that again. So our International Player of the Year would be our Golden Boot winner. Australia's would be their Dally M winner. Every nation would nominate a player.
I could see that. I could see that.
And I know they were both preparing for the third test, so I understand they had training and whatever. Obviously, had to go straight away after to go for training. It was a shame that only the Golden Boot nominees were there on Wednesday when it is the Hall of Fame dinner, and they all disappeared before the Hall of Fame bit.
All of the England squad should have been there,
Yeah.
all of the New Zealand
Yeah.
squad. They were all in Leeds,
Why
so
not?
there's no reason why they shouldn't have been.
Yeah, got to be better at 8
Well,
o'clock.
I mean, maybe for the Kiwis, of course, who wouldn't stop and speak to the media the week before, we didn't get offered a free Chinese or something to go on TV. Sean Johnson's happy to speak when he's getting free food.
Did
isn't
he interview well yesterday, the Kiwis?
I've no idea. I didn't say I buggered off. Once I saw people drinking beer in the mix zone, I thought this isn't for me anymore.
When you mentioned the makers have been the England international player for England, what about Alec Wyatt? How do you think he's played brilliant for us from four tests?
I'd have voted. Personally, if I'd have been on a panel, I'd have voted for Whitehead. But it helps when you score a hat-trick the week before.
I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that.
Stephen's asked if he won it 4-1, how was it a draw before?
Well,
Who knows? We don't know, Stephen. We're just looking for more invites to stuff.
because there's more than 5 people on that. Anyway, the
Well, they only
first
have 5
set of
people.
votes, they were drawn.
This is like the Electoral College in America. We've no idea
Yeah.
how it works. Donald Trump's going to come in and say, actually, it was Steel Retchwas. He's the winner.
Yeah, I think there's 5 people on that panel, isn't there? Well, got this new panel now. Yeah, Martin Sadler, Mascot's on it. Dave Woods is on it.
Yeah, didn't Steve Mascall tweet that he was going to be
Sorry?
taken off?
Yeah. There's 5 people on the panel to pick the golden vote.
So the first set of votes could have been 2, 2 and 1.
But also as well,
and
though,
then-
compare that to the original panel, i.e. myself, Louis Kenny. I think we know a little bit more about Rugby League, to be honest with you,
Oh.
Oh, you know more than Martin.
from a player's point of view. Of course I do.
You don't want to get sacked from his collar.
Of course I do.
He's internationally unemployed all over the world now. It's like us, really. Anything else you want to discuss?
I'm sure there's something we had to say. Oh, because I missed a bit about Paul Rowley, and I'd like to get a bit for the internet later in the week to get some views. How's Brian McDermott going to do in Toronto? Because he's obviously
In Manchester.
in Manchester. You know, with the Toronto-based media, you can't escape for Paul Rowley being on fan whatever number radio station it is, and all their players.
Him and the mayor are just like that.
Yeah. Not the former mayor, thankfully. How's Brian McDermott going to get on with the squad they've got in Toronto? Because there are some interesting players
He's
there.
a great copy. Because if he says nothing, he's good copy.
Well, it's
But
going to
is
be
he what
interesting.
they need?
It's going to be interesting if he's going to be given free rein to speak to the media. Because with the best one in the world, at Leeds, he wasn't.
Or is
He
Brian
was kept pretty
yeah.
much under wraps.
Or
wasn't
is
he?
Brian Noble going to do that as part of his role?
Change your
I don't know.
titles around.
But I think Brian McDermott would be great. Because I think for what he says, he's good copy. But you need to have journalists that will ask him the kind of questions that he'll
Or
respond
be
to.
allowed to ask.
Yeah. And I think that over there, they will ask him, and part of the remit will be he'll need to answer them.
It's an interesting one, that, isn't it?
But he's a
I don't know.
personality as well. There's a lot that they can make out of who this guy is. That then, the ex-marine and the professional boxer and guy who's won more titles in Super League than everybody. There's a lot they can work on out there. He could be a personality, Alan.
How do you think he'll get on Ledge?
I think it'll be alright, yeah, because with the show, he'll get the respect. His man management's good. I think that's going to be the most important factor for him. Man management, handling players who, they've got big egos. Even though they're not the journeymen, they've got big egos. So it's going to be a different sort of dressing room for him for what he had at Leeds. As we know, the players what he had there at Leeds, not just the quality, but also as well the leadership qualities what they brought. And as I say, I would imagine Matt Dermott just kept it nicely with his man management style. This is totally different because journeymen, big egos, pressure of the job as well. So it's going to be interesting for him.
Not as many. I think people like Tom Albinson will absolutely thrive under Brian McDermott. I think that's a really
Good player,
good
Tom
sign.
Alderson, good player.
Well, you're a big fan.
A big fan of it. I like
So
him.
I think they're not so much. I think he's got people that have got potential that he
Not
can
all of them
bring
are
out.
genuine, but a few of them are.
Yeah, I think they're moving away from that a little bit now.
Are they?
It's interesting that even before, as you said earlier, before they failed in the £1 million game, this story had been going around for a long time.
And Jimmy says McDermott has got the personality of a brick. I would say, Jimmy, you do not know Brian McDermott. I'm not a mate. I'm no far from it, but I have spoken to him away from rugby, and I think he looks at a journalist as a challenge. And if you're prepared to meet him, challenge him, he will let you challenge him, and he'll challenge you back. And I don't. That's what I don't. We don't see the real Brian McDermott
absolutely.
on the telly, the Sky interviews. I cringe myself looking at him, and he must look back. I don't know if this is a persona he puts on, that isn't the Brian McDermott that I see.
I think if you walk into a press conference and ask him how he thinks it went, you'll get a terse reply. There's a similarity with Wayne Bennett in terms of their approach to the media. And Wayne is taciturn at best. But we went to Bradford to hear him speak to raise money on behalf of the junior development of the Bulls, which was really good of him before the first test. And he did an hour. And he made it quite clear that if it had been journalists asking him questions, he probably would have given the short answers. But because it was a room full of people that had paid to listen to him and that all the money was going to a really good cause, he opened up a lot about himself. And what I would say is you can read a lot of that in a magazine that's out later this week, and it is fascinating. But you suddenly realise when you listen to him for an hour, talking not so much about rugby league but about philosophies of life, why people want to play for him, why players, every single one of those England players has come out and said, he inspires me, he makes me the best I can be. There's a lot of that in Brian McDermott as well, that even though he clearly had run-ins with Kevin Sinfield towards the end of Kevin's career, Kevin still ranks him as the best coach he ever played under. And I think what you find is that if you find a way of getting to hear what they've got to say. I think the other thing Brian McDermott's developing at the moment is a bit like Jamie Peacock's, going out to corporate and talking about leadership. He did his first one at Ashfield College last Friday, and he's going to do a few of those. I think if you go and listen to him talking about leadership and how you get the best out of people, he is absolutely fascinating. So don't judge him on the way he treats Tanya Arnold.
Should ask our Toronto-based listeners, because the third biggest largest country that listens to this programme, that's the wrong way of putting it, the third most listeners that listen to this programme or download our podcast are from Canada, believe it or not. I wonder what they make of it. I wonder what they, do Torontonians like a coach like Brian McDermott.
What they should be is excited that they have got the coach that's won the most Super League titles. They shouldn't worry about anything else at the moment.
And this is what the Torontonians need to learn, because he has his own ways of thinking and managing. On a scale of 2 to 9, how successful will he be as coach?
You've been waiting all year for that, haven't you?
It's my
ever since he got sacked.
I get a bit of an in-joke there. I think you need to explain that.
As it was Pete Smith, wasn't he, who asked him once, I can't remember who they played, Salford or someone? A few years ago, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy he was or something. And he says, on a scale, well, I can't be 1 because that's really depressed, or 10 because that's ecstatic, so it's more like 2 to 9. That's Brian McDermott, that's what you get in Toronto. How successful will he be?
Well, Nicholas said he's going to have to meet the public and the press to build up the fan base. He said we're not corporate sellouts just yet. So we'll see how that one goes. I think he'll do well. I think he could be the perfect man. And the thing is, I don't think he's not going to take any crap.
Oh no.
So
I'll take no rubbish, and I would imagine, as I say, with the Toronto, whether it was the philosophy of Paul Rowe, the indiscipline, because at times they were awful, weren't they, from a discipline point of view. So one for sure, if the players who are a little bit indisciplined and they don't want to change, I'm afraid to say they won't be playing for the Wolfpack very long under McDermott.
What I think it is, it's the ability to get teams to win the big matches. I think Paul Rowley was great throughout the year, but all of the big matches that they seemed to play, that's when the discipline issues came in. I think Brian McDermott's almost the reverse of that.
Yeah.
When you get to the big games, he has motivated teams to achieve things that you didn't think they would. Come up with a game plan that was slightly different to the one that you thought they might be playing. And you look at all of the finals that Leeds played in, there was something slightly different that he brought to the table that, yes, absolutely, he had the playing staff and he had the people in the dressing room that were winners, but your coach as well gave you that little bit extra that you needed to go out and do the job.
Is he staying, Noble? Is he staying?
Yeah.
I mean, it does sound that the good news for him is teams in Toronto generally are rubbish in terms of winning championships.
Toronto won MLS, didn't they, not so long ago?
Yeah, but that's football. No one cares about football, do they? When did the last time Toronto Maple Leafs won anything? Years and years and years ago. Because they're not as good as the Montreal Canadiens. And the Blue Jays, they don't win anything. So it'll be all right. They've been rubbish recently, according to Wikipedia. So all our Canadian listeners, they'll all let us know. But it's going to be an interesting time.
Get excited.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Martin asks, Phil, is 4020 available in digital form anywhere?
Yes,
Oh, it is.
yes,
I didn't know this.
yes. Go for exact edition, so you can get a digital version.
What is it?
Exact editions.
Right.
If you subscribe to the paper edition, you get digital one free.
Oh, there you go, Martin. So I'm sure Rich will send you a link or something
Yeah,
to
we'll get one
do
sorted
what you
later.
need to do
There
with
you
that.
go. 1966 last time anyone from Toronto won anything. Well, like Leeds haven't won anything for donk's years, and then they, I know Brandon was in charge the first year they won anything, but then they won everything.
Hey, Rich, hold on. When was the last time Wakefield won all?
1992 Yorkshire Cup.
Yeah.
Currently
Robbed.
under duress at Huddersfield, who don't deserve it.
robbed.
Yeah,
Even
so that's 26 years, and you don't even look like winning anything.
Carnegie Knights.
So don't be able to go at Leeds. Don't be able to go at Leeds.
Are you
It's
not the
20
current holders of the Wetherby Whaler
Yeah,
Challenge?
I mean, as I've said before,
dude.
I have said before the Yorkshire
And you
Cup.
got 26 really quickly then.
He's massive improved, hasn't
That
he?
was really good.
Yeah.
I can count up to 30.
No, but that was quick. You didn't get your fingers out, your toes, anything.
No,
I did.
I don't know who the Toronto Marlies are. I don't know what spot they
so
play.
it's 26 years since you won anything or been anywhere near.
But the Argonauts did win the
All right.
CFL last year, so it was good. I saw the final. It had what's her name? Famous Canadian singer woman, Shania Twain, doing the pre-match. It was very good. We can't even get anyone's heard of.
Have we got any?
Are you on drugs today?
Yeah, he is.
Are you on
Is
drugs?
she Canadian? Mariah Carey, whatever her name is.
Maria Carey.
Maria Carey, is she
I
Canadian?
don't know.
No, well, I did enjoy the letter in the paper. today
Michael
saying-
Bublé is.
Michael Bublé.
Don't like
Get him for the third test next year at Elland Road. Knights Road.
Hey,
Well, if Toronto are in the grand final,
We're talking about this with
He
me.
can do the pre-match.
I tell you what, when we're talking about this with me and Mal, I should be in Australia now. Get me in that jungle, me and Mal, get us both in that jungle.
with a machete.
A British lion ripping a kangaroo apart. Eh?
Danny Parkinson got so sick of trying to get you in the jungle, he's gone off to Bahrain to run away from you, Scott.
Yeah.
Any transfer speculation this week? Because we're not bad. I mean,
No,
We
no,
are
it's
good. We are good.
and most of it is informed,
Yeah.
even if
we
it
don't
doesn't
just
all
make
happen.
it up, you know. We don't
No, I
just
mean,
make it
Ryan
up.
Brown
No,
and
there are
OKR
people who
fell
do.
apart, but that's we
I
can't.
mean, it's Garbutt to OKR though, on the other hand.
With
Your mate, Phil.
Sebastian Ikehiko coming to Leeds.
Who?
Oh, we had earlier,
Big
by the
Seb.
way,
What, from Huddersfield? Is he?
what's his name?
Word on the street.
Fellow with the hair at Huddersfield. Mamo. Might be going to Warrington, apparently.
All right, okay.
That's, someone on Twitter said that, so.
Oh, it must be true.
Well,
Yeah.
all right then. I do understand that Icky, who didn't have as good a season last year as he did the year before, had been made available. So that would make sense. But why are they getting rid of Garbutt, Phil?
Well, they might need a quota spot.
For Martin
Well, why are they getting rid of him?
They might need somebody younger. I think they should.
Phil,
I like him.
Yeah,
I
I'm
would
saying,
stick with
Phil,
him.
for
If
the
he's
last 2
fit-
years, you've been
Yeah.
you've been one of
No,
his biggest
I
fans.
am-
So,
I am surprised he would be going.
so why we're letting him go? He's a quality player.
'Cause
You've been
they-
saying
they-
you've been saying all this year with Mr. Big Men, with Mr. Big Men.
Because
Garbutt's
if
been the
they
biggest.
were to be after a Trent Merrin, they might need that.
Well, he's
quota
not coming
spot.
now, is it?
Well, don't rule it out yet.
Well, it's been said he's staying at Penrith.
By who?
Well, it's in the League Express, isn't it?
Who's that?
Must
Who's
be
that?
true.
Sorry.
Trent Mirren.
Must be true then.
Okay.
He's staying at Penrith.
If he could negotiate a release from Penrith, he might still be available.
Vinty says Anthony Galley might be available. Not coming to witness.
Is he not?
All
But
right.
that's what Vinty says. He knows more than I do.
Hmm.
He might be wrong.
Don't think he's been playing prop for Leeds.
Archie said he'd love it
Yes.
he for at Leeds. Don't understand why Huddersfield are getting rid. I mean, and I don't know, but I do know that they were looking to move him on. I think they've got salary cap issues and they're trying to free up some money. They will have clearly freed up quite a bit by getting rid of Danny Brough. They're gonna, you know.
They
they're
brought
now.
that Utah though. He will come cheap, will he? Not winner.
No, maybe not.
He will come cheap, mate. That's for
No,
sure.
maybe not.
Well, maybe that's why they've got to get rid of somebody else.
Steve is laughing. Says Locker's to Leeds. Look, that was nearly happened. That
I
nearly
think you'll
happened.
find that Wigan acknowledged that
Yeah.
they had to go back and make him another offer.
I bet his agent was happy that we said that on
Yeah.
air.
Yeah.
We were
No,
on.
that
We
was
were
it.
on 10% of the 10%.
At no
Don't worry
point
about
was
that.
that ever denied by either club.
Jules says Garbutt has been superior to Cuthbertson since the treble. He hasn't played as many games, or has he?
No,
That'd be
I think that's one of the other issues that I think Garbutt only played 8 times last year, which can be unfortunate.
I mean, I thought Hull came on stopped signing Leeds players since their change of management, but
well,
I think it's a good
well,
signing.
Jimmy
for Hull.
Kainos is a good signing. I mean,
Mm.
Mulvern's proved to be a good signing.
Yeah.
Mins prior to his off the field issue was a good signing. So I think they've done all right.
Maguire's done all right. Maguire's been fit. When he's
doing
been
the
fit.
job.
Yeah.
Someone said, what's going to happen to the rugby league referees after Danny Maguire retires? Because that's obviously one person left off their roster. So these people.
Whatever.
Oh,
What? That was you who said that.
it wasn't.
That was you. Show me that tweet.
Oh, it was earlier.
Here we go. Here we go. It's all coming out, Rich. It's all coming out.
Right, so he's retiring next year. So in 2029, will Danny Maguire be in the Rugby League Hall of Fame?
Well, I asked a question earlier. Is Danny Maguire the best player? Has he been the best player at Leeds in the Super League era? Let's ask two Leeds fans.
I think in 2024 would have been the Leeds Hall of Fame.
That wasn't the question I asked.
Yeah, it's
Has he been the most influential, however you want to look at it? If you had to vote for one player from Leeds, only in the Super League era, and I get Rugby was there before, Gary, I know that. I'm talking about a specific period in time. Is Maguire, Sinfield, Burrow, where are you going?
Maguire will get my vote.
Would he? Okay.
Yeah.
Phil?
Kevin Sinfield.
It's a draw.
But what I would
Paper,
say,
scissors, rock, lads.
what
One of
I
you's going
would
to be
say
disappointed.
is Rob Burrow is the greatest scrum half Leeds have ever had in their history.
Wow.
Better than Jeff Stevenson?
Yeah.
You sure?
Mm-hmm. Medals, I'll tell you that.
It's not all about medals.
I know you would say
No,
That means he was
that means I was rubbish. I should never played first team football.
that. No. I think pound for pound.
Well, all right. Well, I'll
pound for pound, Rob Burrow
Right,
is the best number 7 Leeds have ever
Well, I'll tell you this then. And we're going to contradict
Many of
that
those
straight
pounds.
away now because Alex Murphy,
Mm.
who allegedly is the greatest player we've ever produced, right?
Certainly up
Alex Murphy says Jeff Stevenson is the best scrum half I've ever played with. So how can Rob
But
be
he
better
didn't
than
play
Jeff
with Rob Burrow. Alex didn't play with Rob.
Played
So
against-
we wouldn't be able to make
No,
that
so you're talking about
comparison.
playing against him as well.
Well, he
The
wouldn't
best
be able to
player
make
he's
that.
ever. The
If
best
he hadn't
player.
played against him, how can you say
I think Rob Burrow, for what he has achieved over
I'm not saying Rob's been a brilliant player.
and the individual awards
Been
as
a
well as
brilliant
the
player.
team awards, I think he is the best number 7 Leeds have ever had.
All right.
But I would give Super League most influential player to Kevin Sinfield. I think the fact that he's in the record books, having broken records when I was growing up, you'd think nobody would ever get near.
Okay.
Sets him
What
apart.
about the Wakey one, Rich? That's an interesting one.
Depends what you want, isn't it? You're looking for the most talented player?
Well, who's had the biggest
most
impact?
consistent,
Who's had the
most
biggest
consistent.
impact on your
Probably
club?
the most influential player then, because that you're talking on and off the field, would have to be Dimitri. Because of his leadership in times which no club usually goes through.
What about Kerman?
And Kerman will be the next one I'd say, because, well done to the RFL for giving him a 3-month testimonial. We know that you usually give them out by confetti, but he had to jump through hoops to get his, from what I understand, to make sure he had played the requisite number of games. For a player who's had I can't say he's done anything necessarily bad in his career, has he? On the field, off the field. But had to, scramble around to find a requisite number of games to be given a testimony. It's like Scowen, his 50th cap we're still looking for. But the club had to work hard to get him that testimony from the RFL, as we've seen in the past. People with very colourful pasts, checkered pasts, have been given testimonials. I find it
Well,
offensive.
Steve and Andy have both gone. They've nominated Kerman. They think Danny Kerman. I mean, you mentioned right, and I've been lucky enough to be in Danny's company quite a lot of times.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
And he said, there were offers coming in
Yeah.
when Wakey were going under. He were getting offers left, right, and centre, and he stayed at the club for less money than he could have got elsewhere because he didn't be probably like you didn't want to be. He didn't want to walk away from his own club. That was his club, and if it were going to sink, then he were going to sink with it basically. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. I really do.
And I'm not a massive person who puts a lot on loyalty, because I can completely understand why in a short career you want to get as much money as possible, but I think he made the right choice in not leaving to go to the club who was.
That's look, at the end of it,
you
he
don't know what's gonna happen
doesn't
now.
know that, does he?
But,
He's got a decision to make.
I would definitely say, Kerman, Dimitri as the most influential people in that club in that time. Certainly so.
Ian wants to know what a testimonial is. I think he's a new rugby league fan. He wants to know what the concept is.
It used to be 10 years, didn't it?
You do 10 years service,
That's
you get
what it
one
used
at
to
one
be.
club.
In one stint, not bugger off to another club and come back
Yeah.
as a player has done in the past. And I believe it's now, is it 300 games?
300 games, yeah.
300 games or 10 years.
Okay,
So-
so once you've achieved that, Ian, then you can basically hold some fundraising events that.
Well, you have to apply to the RFL, who have
Yeah.
to grant
And
you
again,
this.
Yeah,
if you look at the actual things, again, I can't think of the word, to get their testimony requirements, criteria, thank you. It includes things like good off-field character. And there are players who've been given testimonials in the very recent past who do not fit that criteria at all.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Roy said Gaz Ellis at Hull FC. That'd be short and sweet, but I guess he went there, they won the cup at Wembley and maybe turned the
To
club
be
around
honest,
a bit. I don't know.
everywhere Gareth Ellis has been, he has been a head and shoulders.
There is a
I-
Rugby League
well,
Hall of
there-
Fame.
well,
What's somebody saying that Gaz Ellis is the best Hull player?
Yeah.
It's a big call, that, isn't
He's
it?
in it for what? How
3
many
years.
3 years?
4 years, wasn't it? 4 years, maybe?
But won the cup twice at Wembley.
That's what I mean.
He
Yeah.
would be
The Holy
my
Grail.
player of the modern era who goes into the Hall of Fame. Not just because of what he did over here, but the fact he's in such high regard over there. And I think that's going to be important in this area.
I think internationally he was outstanding. And what was
Paul
it?
Schoolthorpe's up there as well.
Yeah.
If anybody was going to ask me who's the best player in the Super League era from '96 to the present day, Paul Schoolthorpe is.
So that's the thing, is that it's who,
Yeah.
who would you see
And the
alongside
Aussies,
yourself?
and the Aussies totally
Even when he was playing
respected
at
and rated.
standoff.
Phil, you like Rodney on Only Fools and Horses? You don't have to ask some silly questions. Schoolthorpe's been easily the best Super League player. He is. In the era,
Interesting.
in the modern era.
There's been some good ones when you
Well,
actually
Fowl,
look back. When you
Fowl,
look back, there's been
Cunningham.
some great ones.
I say Maguire's up there, obviously. Sinfield,
Peacock.
James Laws. How do you get from Noah? Where do you get from Noah?
Still no props in the Hall of Fame, are there? We mentioned this
They're only
before.
they're only
No, no,
donkeys.
just-
They're only donkeys. I hope you're not listening, Jim. I hope you've gone.
Yeah.
I hope you're watching Coronation Street, Jim. But no, why should any donkeys
That's
be in the
2
Hall of
rounds
Fame?
you're buying now.
Huh?
That's 2 rounds you're buying.
One of them will be in the car park.
Glenn's asked, is there an actual physical RFL Hall of Fame? There used to be,
There is
but is it going to be when the museum's built? Or is that...
there's some pull-up banners.
I've seen them, yeah. We had a photo of me and Scully with Neil Fox. It was great. So the best thing about going last week is you can just get Scully to ask people to do things. I'm not a very confident person, despite what we act out on this programme. So I just get Scully to say, get Neil Fox to have a photo with us.
Tell you what, though, when you look at Foxy, he doesn't look any different when he played. Honestly, he just looks sensational.
What the hell happened to you then? What the hell's happened to
Well,
you?
Neil Fox had to do a proper job.
Wins for 9 years.
What
Was that
not-
giving you a drink, has it?
One of the tweets over the weekend was Todd Greenberg, who's been here for the he had his picture taken with Neil Fox and wrote something really complimentary about what an honour it was to
Not on the
be-
statue, of course.
Let it go, Rich. God's sake.
It's
What is up
No,
with
it's
him?
not on the statue, is it, at Wembley?
Oh well, that's pathetic, isn't it? Why Neil Fox is not on the statue?
Why don't you knock one up?
Yeah,
Yeah,
come on,
knock
build
up,
one.
we'll go weld it on.
We'll get a cardboard
It's
cutout
absolute-
next time we
and
go.
also, and another thing we were talking about, me and Fox, because we were sat next to each other, me and Fox, and we were discussing when the Hall of Fame came out in 1988. They couldn't put him at the same time because he hadn't been retired 10 years. Bloody hellfire! So he had to wear another. How pathetic was that? One of the best players that's ever. His points record will never, ever get beaten. And the stupid
Are we
had to be waiting
having
10
them-
years. I've got to
Are
wear
we
another
having a
12.
Hall of Fame dinner next year?
You can imagine Neil Fox thinking, when's he going to finish what I'm getting away with?
Andy Sinclair says, what about Morley?
Adrian's up there, without a doubt. Yeah,
Front rower.
Got a golden cap.
Adrian's up there again, not just international level, respected by the Aussies from there. So yeah, Adrian's up there, there's no two ways about it.
We need to get our viewers, because we know they're passionate about Scully, to set up a petition to recognise Great Britain versus the rest of the world in 1998 at Headingley as an official test match. So
No, it wasn't. It was an international. They call them internationals now, and that game, Great Britain v the rest of the world at Headingley 1987,
This
was
is last Wednesday.
was classed as an international because I've missed out by so-called one international
Anyone
by not picking
So
up
if
a
that, had
golden
been,
cap.
if that had been counted up, would you then be the record cap?
No,
No, Jim
had a
Sullivan missed
golden cap.
I would have had a golden cap, but mixed
No, but 46. You've got 46.
46 and 3
Yeah.
red caps.
Jim Sullivan's got 53.
54, I think. Mick Sullivan, by all accounts, me and Mick Sullivan have the identical caps, 46 for Great Britain.
Yeah, but
3 for
if
England.
that game was counted, then would
Yeah.
you be Great Britain's record?
Oh yeah.
Well, maybe it's better that you don't. Then.
Oh no, I'm not bothered about that. But what I'm saying is, they call them
Silver cap.
No, they call them internationals now, don't they? You know, so the combined to Great Britain and England. So me and Mick Sullivan, until I found out when Phil told me, we have always had 46 caps and 3 England caps. All of a sudden, they found Mick another one. They found Mick, they played against a combined France team or whatever, played in 1956. So I heard about this, you know, I made some inquiries. Well, hold on, you call them internationals now. The international, it wasn't a test match, but it was an international. Great Britain v the rest of the world at Edinburgh. Under international rules and everything. And they
wasn't unlimited substitution.
No, there were only 2 subs. They brought a good team over, so that should be classed as an international. But no, well, I guess it's classed as a friendly. What a load of tosh.
Petition the
What a load of tosh. Yeah, so I've missed out on that as well. So can't got medals. I can't get the golden caps now. Can't get home. Can't get no.
Every single person I spoke to on Wednesday.
He was lobbying everybody at the dinner. Wasn't he? You go, Nigel Woody's texted on the table.
I text all the big wigs. Hold on, Mick Sullivan, he's got 49 for England caps and Great Britain. Oh no, we found another one in 56. Hold on, all of a sudden after all that you've realised that I might have played another game in 1956.
I was waiting for Dave Woods to say there's a special surprise because one more, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's a normal wisdom cap. Shut up, Scotty, have that.
We haven't got a video package for him because we haven't got one. But here he is, Joyce Garfield, OBE.
What I must say, what was really respectful at that dinner, and it was beautifully.
Good. Love the history of the game.
Hold on. Sorry, you can come back in a bit. Paul Burns-Williamson says, what about the golden dressing gown?
I think he should have the golden sock that goes in the golden.
I tell you what, mate, if you go to Chinese, just on Blair at 9:15, you'll see me collecting a dressing gown.
Hopefully the wind's blowing that way.
And with me flip-flops on and all, so if you're buying, it's a special curry with chips.
That's what it is.
Sorry, go on.
She's put me off my chair. What was nice was when they inducted the 3 new members, they had the 4 of you on stage at armchairs. I thought that was a really nice. That you were being inducted into something, that you were being welcomed by the people who were already in it. Well, that was lovely.
No, I have to say, I love the history of the game, and we should have more of it, you know. And I said to Martin Sadler after as well, I said, you know what we should do, because the Cumbrians don't see us, they should have the next dinner up in Cumbria. It would be a 500 sellout because they absolutely love the quality players, they love the history of the game, and if you took it up to Cumbria, you would sell out up there easy with 500 people because they don't get to see us anymore. Don't get it.
I know there's obviously
They would
lots
love
of things going on Sunday, but at half time, why didn't you come out and wave to the crowd, the Hall of Famers, the new ones? Why not?
Fair point.
I agree.
Jill said, what about a golden kebab? That'll do.
It's a chilli sauce, lovely. Hey, it's a great suggestion.
Easily bought. Easily bought.
Yeah.
Wigan
couldn't get a boo.
Wigan couldn't get it for 75 grand extra on his contract, but for a kebab, he'll do anything now. Yeah. Fair enough. You just struggled in the jungle. There's no kebabs there, you know.
Bugs.
I'd say I've been trying to get in that jungle for the last 8 years. You know, I want to get in that jungle. Don't worry about that. I'll make Rugby League have a presence in that celebrity jungle. Don't worry about that. I want to get in there.
I would cringe if you were in there. I'm not about the animals either.
Why?
I'm just frightened of what you were going to say next.
Because you know,
as you were eating kangaroo.
Do you know what my philosophy would be? Because you're in there for 2 weeks before you start getting voted out. My philosophy would be for the first 3 or 4 days, I'd be patient and I'd just work everybody out on this sort. I'd be patient.
Vision awareness.
Yeah. I'd work out the character, this sort of thing. Then after the 4th day, the ones who were really pain in the asses, I would really rip in. It would be good viewing, honestly. It would be good viewing.
Well, we'll be the judge of that.
So, if there's any agent out there, please get me on that I'm a celebrity. There's 30% for you. There's 30% for you. Get me on.
Steve Bradford said it was good evening on Wednesday. It was great to see you there.
We met a couple of Salford fans.
Oh, Salford fans. Did you remember the names?
No.
Yeah, the 2 Salford guys on there. we had a great laugh with the boys as well, and they were telling us they've got the best half backs in Super League. They're going to finish 6th. And I said, you're going to finish 6th? I said, you're at Ellen Road, you're not in Fantasy Island, you know what I mean? And yeah, we had a good crack with them. They loved the show, and
Stephen, Alan,
yes,
I think,
for their open honesty, and they were telling me, you know, Hastings, he goes in the local working men's clubs and likes a pint, and he mixes with everybody. He's a great character. But yeah, but the 2 Salford fans were very optimistic that Salford are going to finish in the top 6 this year.
Well, they have re-signed Jansen today, so that could be the missing link.
Andy says, new TV show, The Only Way is Scoey. Oh, God. Oh,
Documentary about Belle Isle.
I'd like to see him on
Well, have
Gogglebox.
you watched Shameless, Andy? It's a bit like that.
I'd like to see him on Gogglebox.
Gogglebox. That's rubbish. I want to get in that jungle. Tell you, if there's any agent out there that's 30% for you.
Right, Dancing on Ice, how we did that. You get on that.
I can hardly dance when I go. I can hardly dance when I go on the dance floor. I'll tell you what, there's one of the dancing nights. I dance to Rick Astley, like a bit of Rick Astley, you know what I mean? Never going to give you up.
Pointless.
Yeah, because when I'm laying on my hammock in Australia, I can sing Rick Astley and that sort of thing, can't I?
Get a record deal.
Bit of Mick Hucknall, bit of George Michael.
Mick Hucknall.
I'm thinking now, I can remember now
Bit of
why
Elton
I
John.
missed the last 2 weeks. That's been quite
I might
relaxing.
not be here next week.
Rich, I think you need 2 weeks off, mate.
I do.
I tell you what, you know what, fellas, me.
Doctor said that.
You know what, me in the jungle, lying on the hammock, lying on the hammock, with you know, with my vest ripped in my speedos. What more would you want?
Rich, the only thing that would be ripped would be a speedo.
Oh, you bet.
That'd be even
That'd
worse.
be sensational
That's taken
viewing.
out of the whole.
Sensational viewing.
You know, when we saw the number on your t-shirt, it'd be that tight across your chest, you wouldn't be able to make the numbers out.
That's a bit harsh, isn't it? A bit harsh.
Andy's just coming up with all the reality shows now. I think you're only watching the Big Brother house because it's been taken off air. Just in there on
Yeah, we just boarded up the windows.
Hello,
you're in.
Yeah, it's Belial.
Hello.
Yeah, you're back in Belial's going.
No, there's no one in, mate. Lock it up.
Glenn wonders if we should have an all-star game. Hashtag we play too many games. But it would be a good thing to have in the middle of somewhere. But I don't know where.
Paul
Well,
Burns
there might
Williams
be.
on fire tonight. He said after your Mick Hucknall reference, he says Scoey's too tight to mention. He knows you well, doesn't he? He knows you well.
Where's he from?
He can't be Cass fan, he's Paul.
Cass.
Yeah.
Mock you up as Mick Hucknall.
Yeah.
To our,
There you go.
Yeah, good bit of music. Good
Whoever, I don't know whoever's doing our Facebook, it must be someone, but I don't know who it is. Says you'll be on Naked Attraction.
We've seen it. We've
Oh,
seen it.
I've seen it. It's shocking.
No,
No, you.
Yeah, we've seen you. It's shocking.
It'd get decommissioned within a minute. Just someone would just pull the plug out.
Hey, listen, I can breathe in for 2 minutes. You know?
Ultra HD.
I can breathe. You know, these 32s and they are nipping a little bit. But I can breathe in for 2 minutes.
What, 32 feet?
Celebrity Naked Attraction from Gary Scott.
No, where this show
No.
just it's all this positivity
people who
just
said
killed it.
We need more rugby to talk
This
about.
is like, do you know what? At the moment, this is like Gogglebox, isn't it?
It's all those people who want us to tweet Channel 4 to get more rugby league on TV.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what you
Commission this.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is like Gogglebox.
Yeah.
But no, I'm saying this, I want to go in the jungle. Simple as that.
And we're serious. We want you to go in the jungle.
Yeah. Somewhere in Borneo will be quite good. Or Papua New Guinea or something. Don't reply to that.
no,
Don't
no,
reply.
No, we've had it.
Our friends in Papua New Guinea, big listeners of the show. Yeah.
I found the World Cup. It's in Manchester.
Alright,
I
lovely.
don't know what it's doing. I think
What's
it's
he doing in the boot of that car? Going the wrong way up the M62. What's happening?
Someone asked why was it the RFL people handing out the medals yesterday and not the head of the Rugby League International Federation or whatever his job is?
Is it the same person?
It's just another
Anyway,
rep to the brain.
it was somebody who works for the International Federation that told us about the not quite full Yorkshire Cup.
Yeah, it was.
You know the
Seemed to have a very good insight to what was going on at the
So are you excited
RFL. What?
about the nearly Yorkshire Cup?
The Nearly Yorkshire Cup that you only get, it's like a Masonic handshake, you can enter it. Yeah.
But what about the?
Do you think fans will buy into it? Because it isn't the Yorkshire Cup.
No,
It's
it's
every
not
team.
in. I see the merit in it.
Yeah,
I
if
know
it's
the
not-
season have put
but
in.
if it's not meaningful, nobody's not going to buy into it. are they?
I mean, and I get the fact that it isn't for Super League clubs. It still is meaningful if it's for every Yorkshire
What
club.
about, you know, instead of having the old, and I know the format changed, the old Championship Shield as it was, if you then said at the end of the year, we'll have the Yorkshire Cup, so it's winner stays on type thing, a bit like the playoffs.
What about the 1895 Cup?
The 1895 Cup. Well, you've been the big proponent of this for forever. Are we going to pay more to use Wembley than for the next couple of hours?
What's the 1895 Cup? What's that?
It's like the Northern Rail Cup. Only it's
Alright.
called 1895 because we haven't got a sponsor for it. And it's going to be a double header at Wembley.
Yeah.
It's going to be Championship and League One clubs.
4
playing
teams
for-
from League One apparently, not all of them.
Oh, not all
so
of them.
it's not like our favourite team, Coventry. They're not in. They've been binned off. They're not allowed in this cup.
But a double header at Wembley.
What have I missed this? What is this?
Yeah, it's in the paper today.
Is it?
Where's the paper?
I need to have a look at this. But sadly, we haven't got any more time. I'm sure.
What about the pronouns, Phil? Richie, you going to tell them about the pronouns again, signed?
We'll give them away next week.
Because I'm not giving away the ones from a couple of weeks
Yeah,
ago.
we're getting a lot of stuff. Sadly, what we're finding is the stuff you sign we can't really give away because no one wants it. So we try to find one without your signature on, really.
Anyway.
Talking of testimonials, as
Yes,
we were
look at
earlier,
this,
look at
look at
this. The
this.
Gary Schofield testimony in a Huddersfield shirt playing against Leeds.
That's a shocking. Look at that ear there. It looks like a massive ear. Cauliflower look on there. Look, it's a shocker, isn't
Must
it?
be my Photoshop skills today.
Eh?
Everybody put out their first team players by the look of it.
Phil Hassan, future Wakefield legend.
Oh,
that's
I'll sign it. And
No!
by the way, Kangaroos, Mal, the cheese will be waiting for you. We're waiting for you 2020, whether it's down under or the Northern Hemisphere.
You just
we're
think
waiting.
scoring, right? You've got 18 months to get ripped, and you can take him on. Take him on.
Loose forward.
Loose women, more like. Right, that is us done.
Before he says anything quickly.
Yeah, quickly turn it off. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for getting in touch. How positive can this show get? Absolutely
Not a
brilliant.
negative word.
Really enjoyed it. We'll see you again next week. This show never goes off air. Well, actually, yeah, we'll see you next week.